So, in my pursuit to never stop buying watches, I have purchased another watch. This is a Bulova Accutron, as you can see from the box. You guys know I'm a big fan of Bulova. I'm a big fan of Accutron. I think they make some really underrated watches, and especially on the secondary market, they sell for next to nothing a lot of the times, and they make some amazing watches, especially their older watches. Some of their newer watches, I've said this also, they make some strange watches, and a lot of their movements that they've made choices with recently aren't so great. I think that has a lot to do with Citizen being involved. However, Bulova Accutron, the Swiss lineup of watches, Accutron itself, when it was sort of partnered up with Bulova Accutron, I think they made some spectacular watches. I'm going to go through this. This is a dive watch. It's called the VX, and get right into it. So it comes in a very simple package. It's sort of just a cardboard box. This is a Swiss-made automatic watch. It comes with a warranty booklet here. It's just a little booklet, has space for a card. The card is right here, actually. This one came unsigned, and then you have a little Accutron owner's guide. The hang tag on here says that this watch originally cost $995. I don't know if you guys can see that. And the model is the VX-200 MTBR BK CAL. I don't know. I guess that's calendar. So here's the watch. So it came with a bunch of extra links. It was actually all in there, so I took them all out. And that's really it. That's the packaging. Very simple packaging. It's just really cheap cardboard box. And here's the watch. You can see it's a Pepsi bezel sort of setup. So you have a black dial. That dial is a matte color. You have applied indices. You have an applied logo. That little tuning fork there at the 12 o'clock is actually an applied logo, which is filled with lume. Actually very cool. You don't see that very often from a major brand where they've actually loomed the logo. And that's actually really nice. Very interesting sort of setup on this watch, but the dial itself is very, very simple. So, like I said, black dial, matte color, applied indices. The indices are very traditional. You have a date there at the 3 o'clock. It has a little bit of a silver surround. That's it. Non-color match, so it has a white background. Big screwed-in crown. The hands are sort of fence post hands. Not too big. Actually kind of elegant, really did a pretty good job on there. And then you have a lollipop, as you can see, for the second hand. And there is just a little red accent on the tip of that second hand, Hacks Hand Wines, because this is an ETA 2892. An ETA 2824. When we get to price, you're going to see why that makes a big difference in this watch. And the price is really good. So originally this was $995. Obviously, I bought this off of eBay, and I got it for a pretty damn good price, but they actually all sell for a really good price. They make chronograph versions of this. They're sort of diving chronographs. They're VX as well. That's their prefix. And those sell for very good prices as well, but I kind of like this version a little bit better. But one day I want to own the chronograph version of this watch as well. And they make it with blue dials and different colorways, and they look really good. One of the highlights of this watch is the bracelet. The bracelet on here is solid and really well made. You have a combination of brushing and polishing. You could see it's a multi-link bracelet is what I would call it. It's almost like a mesh bracelet. You do have some really small links in here. Every single one of the links are solid. And then you have a pair of brushed links 3 times in a row, so it's 6 of those links. And then you have 2 large polished outer links, 2 sort of polished center links, and then you have 3 of these really small links in there. So there are multiple links that go across this entire bracelet, and it's very fluid and feels very, very nice. As I said, it says Swiss made on the dial. It says Swiss made right there. It says 200 meters right over here underneath that minute, the hour hand, which is kind of weird. It's sort of floating out in the middle of nowhere. I'm not sure the design idea behind that. But besides that little design hiccup, I'm going to call it, I really do love the design of this watch. It says automatic, and then the number of jewels right there above the 6 o'clock, Accutron below that loomed logo, which is applied, as I mentioned, and then that just floating around in the middle of nowhere, 200 meters. Again, I really don't understand that, but kind of funny. Now, the dimensions on this, it is not a small watch, but it's not a huge watch. And I actually really do like the way it wears. It's a 43 millimeter, so 42.9 millimeters is what I'm measuring. But it basically is a 43 millimeter watch. It wears like a 43 millimeter watch. You have a very true lug-to-lug on here of 51 millimeters. Even if you are including or not including those female end links, however, male end links, you're getting 50. So it's around that 51 millimeters. You do get male end links here, and it just goes out a little bit further than the actual lugs. And the lugs are drilled. So you can see that there. Very nice. I really like that. Huge crown on here. It's very, very big, as you can see. I really do like that. 7.8 millimeters. So you're getting a very big crown with these big crown protectors. A lot of polishing going on here on the case. So you're getting polishing on the sides of the case. And then on the tops of the case, you're getting brushing. But then you have this sort of edge that is sort of rolled onto the lug. That is actually polished. And then the inside of the actual lugs is in a brushed. And then if you flip over the watch, and then you do get a double deployment, which is very typical double deployment from even major brands. This is sort of not bad. It's not the best, but it's not bad from a major brand. Milled buckle, so it is a milled buckle. On the back side of the case, you're just getting brushed, and then the case back is polished. You can see the movement. It is signed. It is an ETA 2824. It's signed Bulova. I'm not sure why they do that. And then it also says sapphire crystal. So I believe you get sapphire crystal front and back on this watch, which is pretty cool. You do get a diver's extension. It is pressed. Nothing great. Reminds me of something from a Seiko. Actually, the clasp reminds me of something that you would get from a Seiko. Even though this is a Swiss-made watch, obviously, not all the parts are actually made in Switzerland, but not a bad clasp at all. And you do get 4 positions of micro adjust. So it's not terrible. Push pins on the bracelet, a little bit difficult to change, but nothing too crazy. Oh, and thickness on this watch, it is a 11 millimeter thick watch, which is excellent considering it's a 200 meter dive watch, and you get that see-through case back, which is really, really good. You get an aluminum bezel on here, black and red, so that Pepsi setup. You get a pip there. Everything is loomed except for the bezel, of course. So you got the indices are loomed, and the hands will do a loom shot at the end. Let's talk about price really quickly, and then I'm going to throw it on my wrist. I paid $250 for this watch. So that's basically 75% off the retail. This was a brand new watch, basically. Never been worn watch. It was in mint condition. Anything that you see on this watch, any scratch that you see on this watch is something that I've put on this watch, because I've literally been wearing this on and off for at least 2 weeks since I've gotten it. I am super excited about the watch. I love it. And I've been wearing it a lot. And it looks great on my wrist. So $250. I think that this was a buy now option on eBay. I think they had it for around $400, $399. I just lobbed in a $250 offer. The person immediately accepted it. I was expecting to find something a little bit different than what I offered, or what I was offering for in the box when I received the watch. It wasn't. I mean, literally perfect, exactly what was pictured. A great experience on eBay, which is not as typical as recent experiences that I've had on eBay. There, goes back and forth. But today, let me show you this, what I have on my wrist, so that I could throw this on my wrist as well. Today I have my Tudor. It is the Black Bay P01, a very funky, very weird watch. It's a 42 millimeter watch. Wears much bigger than this 43 millimeter watch. That's because you have a giant lug-to-lug on here, way bigger than the 50 millimeters that we have on this. It is almost 56 millimeters, so it does wear a lot bigger, but very quickly, and it's also thicker than the watch that I am showing you guys right now, the Bulova. So, very quickly, here is the Accutron on my 7.5 inch wrist. And there you go. And you could see, it wears like a 43, it wears like a 42, or 43. It does wear true to that size. Lug width is great, 50 millimeters. No problem on my 7.5-inch wrist. Actually, I didn't do bezel action. I'm going to do bezel action because the bezel is actually a really big highlight of this watch. It's excellent. And that bracelet just captures the light. It looks cool. It looks like a way more expensive watch than $1,000. It looks like if I told you I spent $250 on this watch, you would not believe it. And I did. That's what I spent. Accutron signed on the actual buckle there. Just really nice. Buckle is actually very robust. Feels very good. Locks very nicely too. Just really nice. Let's listen to the bezel action. The bezel is also a highlight. It's sort of a design point as well. As you can see, it sort of builds up. It's actually really, really knurled. It is polished, but it's very easy to actually grip. Everything lines up perfectly and easily. It does not move. This is a very well-made watch. A Swiss-made 200-meter dive watch with an ETA 2824. That you can see from the sapphire crystal in the back. You get a big crown, a Pepsi bezel, pretty decent lume, which we're going to show you in a few seconds. A beautiful bracelet. One of the nicest that I've seen in a while from any watch. I really do love this bracelet. It's one of the highlights of this watch. Great bezel action, $250. You really cannot go wrong. I haven't done one of these videos where I highlight a vintage watch, but technically this is sort of a neo-vintage watch. It's from the early 2000s, late 90s, I believe. And these are pretty much scarce. You can't find a lot of them on eBay. I have a saved search. That's how I found this. When I saw it come up, I made an offer, and it sold just like that. There has been one that has been listed since, and that's been over a month. Since I've actually purchased this, and I believe that is a chronograph that's going for around $700, which is really not that bad when you consider it's getting a Valjoux 7750. You can see it from the back. It's a 200-meter chronograph dive watch, which is pretty cool. So very quickly, let's do a lume shot and then wrap up the video. So the lume isn't bad. It's not going to blow you away. It's not the best lume that I've seen on any watch, but it definitely will not compete with a micro brand. When micro brands do lume well, they do it really well. However, this is not bad for a major brand. Lume pip is lumed, obviously. It gives you orientation in the dark, but you also get that tuning fork at 12 o'clock, which also gives you some orientation also. It looks really good. I think it's BGW9. It's sort of a minty blue, minty green color. It's not liberally applied, but it's applied well enough when compared to a lot of major brands that I have on the channel, Tissot or whatever it might be, Mito and things like that. I think they're doing a pretty good job on this watch. Now, obviously, this watch is out of production. They don't make it anymore. It's a vintage or a neo-vintage watch. It came out in the late 2000s or early 2000s, excuse me, and they no longer make it. But for $250, you're getting an extremely good value, and it kind of brings up that question, major versus micro brand. When you could get a watch like this, of course, it's not warranted by Bulova at all, or Accutron. That's something that you definitely need to weigh. However, you're getting an ETA 2824, not a clone. You're getting an extraordinary bracelet, which is finished immensely. The case is finished perfectly. It's really nicely finished. You have very, very nice polishing and brushing on this case. Really nice bezel. Some trick lume, the little lumed logo, which is different for a major brand, as I mentioned. Just in general, a solid 200-meter dive watch with a display case back. All around a very good-looking watch for $250. That is an excellent price. That's what I paid. Now, not everybody's going to pay $250. You might pay a little bit more. Even at $500, there is no micro brand that can beat that price. There's no micro brand out there that's going to offer you an ETA movement, not a clone, an ETA 2824, and then give you a display case back and give you all of the specs that this watch has and the finishing. Now, the finishing is really where the difference comes, and it's Swiss made. There is no micro brand that offers that. So $250, even if you spend $350, there's one on eBay right now for $700 and something. That's a chronograph with a Valjoux, I believe, 7750 in it. Obviously, that's a pretty good price for a watch like that. But Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. What do you guys think of it? You can see the lume is basically faded. It's a little bit still hanging on, but not really there. But typical of a major brand, as I mentioned. But tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Tell me what you think of this watch. Tell me what you think of Accutron, of Bulova, of the watches that they made when they were Swiss made. I know that the recent watches from Bulova, they don't use the movement that I wish that they were using. However, they still have that level of finish, I feel. And a lot of the watches that I've handled, they do the extra mile with their finishing. This is a $1,000 watch originally. I think that the finishing on this watch surpasses that price. I think it's way better than a $1,000 watch, in my opinion. But tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please tell me what you think. Please also don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in